We can't be part of the occupation of our people. We can't be part of the demolition of Palestinians' house in Israel.
You're listening to Inside Israel Today with Gil Hoffman on the Land of Israel Network.
Hello and welcome to Inside Israel Today, here on the Land of Israel Network, on thelandofisrael.com, where we are exactly 1 week away from the Israeli election, ladies and gentlemen. It is really happening. We're finally getting there. There's even weather reports, and the weather reports say that it's going to be a beautiful day on election day. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be in the 60s. It's going to be wonderful. And we at the Land of Israel Network and at the Jerusalem Post, of course, have been following this election very closely and have been informing people around the world about what's going on, and in the case of the radio in particular, about who the candidates are. And so we have been on this show on Inside Israel Today, little by little introducing you to many candidates as the over the last 10 weeks. We have had one candidate every day for the last 10 weeks from 10 different parties, and the way that we ended the show last week was that we said that we didn't really know who we were going to do on the last day. And here we are on the last election show before the election. And so I asked, should I interview someone from an Arab party? And got a lot of listeners who wrote me very nicely that yes, I should. And so then there became the question of who would we interview? Because one thing that we have done is we've been interviewing new candidates. Now, the Chadash/Ta'al party has only one new candidate in a realistic slot. His name is Ofer Kasif. He is Jewish and very controversial, and we wanted to interview an Arab. And so instead, the other list of Arabs running in this election is called the United Arab List/Balad. The United Arab List is a Muslim party, and Balad is an Arab nationalist party. In the last election, Balad was led by Jamal Zakhalka and by Khanin Zawabi. Both of them decided not to run again, and so they have a whole new list of people that you have never heard of, that I have never heard of. They have names that are difficult to spell, but we are going to learn about them. And so today we have on our show the leader of the Balad party. His name is Mtanes Shihadeh, and we will be speaking to him after the election. And we will be speaking to him after the break. Now, before the break, though, what I wanted to talk about was how over the last week or two, I've had many friends and acquaintances and even family members tell me I have no one to vote for. What can we do? There's too much mudslinging. It's too dirty. People don't want to have the candidates that have been mudslinging, going back and forth, and they want to have somebody clean, and they are trying to figure out how to vote in this election. And so the advice that I give people is you need to look not at the leader of the party. You need to look at who is on the cusp in the polls. I recommend people go into the website of the Central Elections Committee, assuming it works, Bechirot, BECHIROT.gov.il. And you can then look at the list of candidates of the different parties that you're considering and see who is there on the cusp. So randomly selecting parties, not revealing anything about political views in any way. Let's try it. Okay, the Blue and White Party. has in it many people that you've heard of at the top: Benny Gantz, Yair Lapid, Bogi Ya'alon, and Gabi Ashkenazi, but they're not going to be the people your vote goes to. Your vote will go to the people that are in the early 30s on the list. So let's see who we have here, because right now, latest Channel 2 poll here had them getting 32 seats. Who's number 32? Eitan Ginsberg. Eitan Ginsberg is the former mayor of Ra'anana, and he was a member of the Labor Party for many years, and he was the first out-of-the-closet gay mayor in Israel. Let's look at who's number 33. You have Gadi Yavarkan. Gadi Yavarkan is an Ethiopian activist who is a former member of Likud and ran in Likud for Knesset. Number 34 and 35 on the list happen to also be gay. You have there Idan Roll, who is the head of the gay caucus of Yesh Atid, and you have a fellow named Yorai Lahav Hertzanu, who is the head of the Israeli Union of Students. Number 36, Moshe Mutz Matalon, is a former head of the IDF's handicapped union, and he was a member of Knesset with the Yisrael Beitenu of Avigdor Lieberman. Going further down, because no poll shows them getting as much as 36, let's look at number 31 is Orly Froman, who was a member of Telem of Moshe Ya'alon's party. Number 30 is a former member of Knesset of Yesh Atid named Boaz Toporovsky. Okay, let's continue playing that game. A lot of the parties are on the cusp, so we don't know whether they'll be entering the Knesset or not. So if you, Moshe Kachlon's Kulanu party, they have a member of Knesset, Roy Folkman, over there, right there on the cusp. He went to Harvard, was a pretty outstanding parliamentarian in the outgoing Knesset. The New Right Party of Naftali Bennett and Ayelet Shaked, Carolyn Glick, former columnist of the Jerusalem Post, is right there at number 6. They're getting 6 seats in the polls. The Zehut Party of Moshe Feiglin, they, right now, all the polls are showing that they're getting in, and so you look at who is number 4 on the list is Roni Dror, who we interviewed here a couple weeks ago on Inside Israel Today, an activist for men's rights. Number 5 is a woman named Libby Molad, who comes from the left and is there in Feiglin's party. She's the expert on education and on school vouchers. And number 6 is Shai Malka, who is the director general of the party and has been very close to Feiglin for many years, and his views are certainly very right-wing. In the Likud, you need to be looking at that list too, at who's there on the border. At number 28, right now they're getting 28 seats in the polls. Over there, you have Sharon Haskell, the Knesset member from the Likud over the past couple years, who was born in Toronto, who was raised in Australia, and represented the Jerusalem Post very nicely at the debate in Ra'anana that I covered, and she has been interviewed here on the Land of Israel Network by Mr. Josh Haston. Let's look at who else is here on the cusp. Number 29 is a woman named Michal Shir, who was an assistant to Gidon Saar. Number 30 is Kathy Shitrit, who was an assistant to Nir Barkat and to Yisrael Katz. Number 31 is Mula Patin, who is a Druze activist. Number 32, Mai Golan, she was a right-wing activist who was one of the speakers in the pro-Trump rally. And number 33 is Uzi Dayan, who is the former deputy chief of staff of the IDF, who we interviewed in our second week here of Meet the Candidate on Inside Israel Today. So, tough decisions people have for this election, but be a smart voter. People have been asking me for platforms. Come on. Parties don't implement platforms. Very few parties have even come out with platforms, and they're not going to do what they say in them. There's an 80-page platform by Blue and White. Don't believe it. There's a 300-page platform by Zehut. It's 300 pages. He's not running for prime minister. It's not going to happen. Maybe he'll get two things done. Let's lower our expectations here for our politicians. The Likud hasn't come out with a platform in 15 years because the platform really is whatever Bibi decides to do. That's the way it works in Israeli politics. If Netanyahu is going to continue being prime minister, his non-platform will continue to govern us. And so with all due respect to those who want to vote on platforms, that's really beautiful and really naive. And for all those who are voting on, I like this guy who leads a party, your vote doesn't go to him. Your vote goes to Lahav Herziano or to Mula Patin. Keep that in mind when you go to vote on Election Day. After the break, we will be speaking to the new leader of Balad, Mr. Dr. Mtanes Shihadeh. Stay with us.
Remember always, said President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that you and I especially are descended from immigrants and revolutionists. We look for a younger generation that is going to be more American than we are. Now, I don't know that I could say I'm more American than FDR, but I can say that I'm a descendant of immigrants, and I've got more than a little bit of the revolutionist in me, because I'm Rav Mike Boyer, and this is the Jewish Story.
Join Rav Mike Foyer for the best Jewish history podcast, The Jewish Story, on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
And we're back here on Inside Israel Today on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com. We have on the line Mtanes Shihadeh, the leader of Balad. Mtanes, thank you for coming here on Inside Israel Today.
Thank you. Welcome.
Please tell us about yourself.
My name is Mtanes Shihadeh. I was born in Nazareth in 72. I studied my first degree in Economic and International Relations at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. I finished in 95. And then I have my master in political science in Haifa University. And after that, a PhD in the Hebrew University in political science. And I was specialized in political economy. I am married from Manal Rohana Shihadeh. She's a social worker. I have 2 boys and 1 girl. I live now in Osriya village in the Carmel Mountains.
Nice to get to know you. Okay.
Thank you.
Why are you entering politics? You have had a relatively relaxing life. Why would anyone want to go to the Knesset?
Exactly. Before my politics official career, I was in Madal Carmel Research Center in Haifa. I was the academic manager of the research center. But since I remember myself when I was in the high school even, I'm in politics. I came from a family which was political actives. We live in politics. Our life is politics. Our study, what we learn, our infrastructure, housing, everything is politics to the Palestinians in Israel. And my father was also active in a political party. He was also a pointer, and so it was. I think it was normal for me to be in politics. I started my politics active. I said in the high school. After that, in the Hebrew University, when I studied to the first degree, I was political active. I was elected to the Arab Student Committee in the Hebrew University, and after that, I continue in Balad, a party since 1988. I was officially a member in Balad Party, National Democratic Assembly. And I was all the time, political active, research active, academic active. I involved in my society, in the political situation, in all the problem. So I think it was normal to be in the politics in the end of or in this stage of my life and career.
So please tell us why the Balad Party. The Balad Party has a reputation in Israel for being controversial with the leaders that they've had in the past, like Azmi Bishara, Jamal Zakhalka, and Khanin Zoabi, and Basel Ratas. Why Balad?
Balad, because she's a unique party in the political atmosphere of Palestinian Israel. Balad our political platform is unique to the Palestinian situation or status in Israel, because we are mixed between the national rights of the Palestinian Israel as a minority, national minorities and homeland people, and the democratic side. We said the Palestinians as a national minority, we have a collective rights. We have a collective right in our identity, our history, our relation to our land, to our country. So we need or we demand this rights from the state of Israel. And besides that, we demand that Israel must be a democratic state, a normal state, as any state in the world who's have a democratic regime, but a real democratic regime. We demand shivayon,
equality,
for all Israeli citizens or all citizens who live in this state. So our demand it was especially or have a relation for our national status in Israel. We are not speaking about economic problem, or as the Communist Party who said that our struggle is Ma'madi, Ma'mad status, economic status. So we are not poor because we are poor. We are poor because we are Arabs. We don't have a resource because we are Arabs, not because we are poor. So we have a national demand. We have a national identity. And Balad, the only party who demand in this fields, our national demand, our national identity, collective right, national collective right. So it was for me as nationalist, it was normal to be in this party. And I think we have our political platform can help or can make our life better as a Palestinian in Israel.
So I have always wondered, if you want to make the lives better of Arabs in Israel, why doesn't an Arab party ever agree to join a coalition? That's where they divide up the spoils. I can understand not wanting to join if Netanyahu remains prime minister, but if somebody other than Netanyahu becomes prime minister, then I don't understand why not. Even when the Labour Party has been in power, the Arab parties have always refused to join the government. And it seems to me that people are hurt by that. No?
It's an easy question. We can't be part of occupation, our people. We can't be part of the demolition of Palestinians' house in Israel, inside Israel. We can't be part in killing our nation. If we were in the government as a collective
responsibility.
Yes, you have, if you part in the coalition, you have collective responsible about the policy, about the outcomes of the policy. We can't discriminate against our people as part of the government. So it's problematic. But if the state where different the regime change and we speak, for example, a state of all its citizens, yes, we can then speak about the part of the government, but the state will be different. There will be no occupation, there will be no discrimination, there will be no killing, no house demolition, the atmosphere will be different. In the situation as right now, no Arab party can be part of the coalition. Besides, I think also the coalition party prime minister, he won't be able to have a Arabs party in the coalition. It will be not legitimate in the Israeli society. So there is a condition. If we want to be in the coalition, all the regime must change.
Thank you very much for coming here on
I
Inside
hope
Israel today.
מקווה שזה היה טוב. Thank you.
Shukran.
Shukran, yalla.
That was Mtanes Shihadeh, the leader of the Balad party. And they are also right there on the cusp. There are polls that show that they won't make it in. We will see. And that's what makes our democracy so exciting. It's been a pleasure taking you through 11 different parties here on our Meet the Candidate series on Inside Israel today. Next week, it will be election day. I don't know how I'm going to tape a show. It'll be a busy day. Maybe we'll do it the day before. I don't know. We're going to try to figure that one out. Or maybe we'll take you around like we did when we had election day last time when we ran for mayor over here, when we had elections for mayor. We'll see. But this has been Gil Hoffman, Inside Israel today on the Land of Israel Network, on thelandofisrael.com. Shalom from Jerusalem.